that they didn't start off strong in week one, but they have defied expectations every time since. Hell, they beat SH 7-1, the team that we just saw take down Parabellum in pretty dominant fashion, and that's quite a statement to be making now that you're LennyGG. But going into this Oregon, earlier we already saw Oregon once. It was, I wouldn't say it was a fast-paced Oregon, but it wasn't as slow as we've ever seen. It was something right in the middle. Maybe we'll see something a little bit different. I've seen LennyGG in their attacks. They do like to speed things up now again and play with the pace of a round. They're not afraid to throw the gauntlet in terms of an all-out rush if they need to. But with the Ying ban coming through, that's going to make those all-out rushes, especially on the basement site, all that less likely. There's so much more utility to clear, and Ying is kind of your shortcut to clear all that utility. You've got smokes, you've got all of those candelas, and that's so great to force those players out of their hard stuck positions. But without that, you're going to have to do it the old-fashioned way.
Yeah, I'm wondering if that's Okami trying to force Lenny to, instead of taking that shortcut, really clear into pillar. Util clear was definitely something Lenny struggled on last time they played Villa, a more structured map, against Honor. Clubhouse, it wasn't... Well, okay. Clubhouse, despite them kind of slamming the Wolves, they still had some bumps in the road, and a lot of those bumps involved clearing utility. So I'm sure that's Okami's game plan, is force Lenny to clear. Something that I think the analyst desk highlighted is how the rounds will probably play out. Lenny and Okami, while Lenny plays normally pretty aggressive, they can dial it back. Same thing with Okami. Okami are a decently aggressive team, but they can dial it back when they need to. So I'm not quite sure if these rounds are all going to be decided with the entries within the first like 45 seconds to a minute, as both these teams can be quick in, or if both teams decide to try and peel back and we actually have a curiously slower Oregon.
Yeah, this matchup is one of those that is kind of a toss-up, not only in, the outcome, but more in, exactly how it's going to play out. Based on the operator selection here, we can see that LennyGG do want to play that map control style of game, that time waste style. Like we saw earlier, you've got the Mute, Mozzie, Vigil combo. Not only are you denying so much intel, but you add the Valkyrie in the mix, and you've got a ton of intel to work with yourself. This could be a seriously potent hold of this entire map if LennyGG know what they're doing, and if Okami cannot get this down at the onset of this round. They're going to need to be methodical, but they also need to be quick. If you allow LennyGG to hold control of this map with the intel they have at their fingertips, they are going to punish you. I mean, and look at this. They are already, Okami is already making headway into this map. 30 seconds are gone, and you already have someone challenging onto Slippery who's holding down kids.
Slippery dealing a lot of damage to Web, and even almost getting the kill on the fadeaway. Luckily enough for Wav, he'll still survive with 1 HP, so if he's still got air jabs in his pocket, in fact, he actually has all 3, he'll still be able to use them. Very extended roam by Lenny, claiming a lot of HP, but not a lot of time. It's only been about a minute, and already nearly all the roamers, well, all the roamers have fallen back to sight, with the exception of Geo, who's still just kind of hanging out on the top of Laundry Stairs, pre-firing towards the single panel wall. It's been left soft, but he will fall back. Slippery, though, attempting to make a sneaky play. He's upstairs, perhaps going to blow into attic with his impact. Swaylin also tentatively waiting towards the bottom of tower as Prompted opens up this attic hatch. Slippery, of course, as Vigil, has yet to be droned out and it might be difficult for the attackers to find him too, because if you send a drone over there and you see, okay, there's Vigil lines in tower, that doesn't necessarily mean he's in T2. He could even be in the basement. They will spot those Vigil lines. Prompted sends the drone out. Slippery will see that there's no longer anyone on it, and he just walks on by. I don't think Okami have any idea this Vigil is still there.
Yeah, Slippery living up to his name right now, but he's going to have to win a gunfight as well. Now that we see Prompted on the swing. Slippery, the pre-fire and the engagement goes his way, and that means LennyGG claim the opening pick, and Okami now have to recover the loss of their Zofia and all of that soft destruction, not to mention those stuns, when you get down to the site. Exile's going to tank a C4 to the face, but Slippery is going to do the work in the meantime, getting another kill. Storms takes down Exile for good, leaving Subarctic and Rafi to claw this one back themselves against 5. Rafi spots the head of one, but can't do it as the toxic smoke engulfs the side of Laundry. Subarctic a little bit split off from their teammate here in Freezer, hoping that this crossfire can save them, but I don't think that's going to be enough. Only 20 seconds to work with, and without Subarctic in play anymore, it is Rafi to do all the work with no time and very little hope. Get a kill to pad the stats, but the Bearing 9 in hand does nothing against Slippery, and a triple kill on the round for the Vigil.
That started off with a very extended roam from LennyGG. In fact, I believe they have three or four players dedicated to it, even some on the top floor. And Slip, sure, he fell back. The roamers fell back pretty soon. He went upstairs once again, avoided the drones, was not detected, found the opener onto Prompted. Wav attempted to refrag, but he was too low HP to take the fight. And Slip was happy to take those two. At that point, Okami say, screw it, we just have to try and make something happen. They barrel down Freezer. Storms, I believe, kills both of them. Sorry, no, Storms with one. Mikey swung the second. And LennyGG held on fervently. Really good hold. Love the roam. Love the play from Slip. That's going to result in Okami's first round loss. Of course, Dorms is going to be next, as that's the standard rotation for Oregon. Slip no longer on the Vigil. He likely won't be roaming. A lot of times, Dorms is closer to the chest. Although, with 2 C4s on the board and reinforcements going downstairs, or sorry, 3 C4s on the board, we'll likely see a lot of this Lenny defense going with their kitchen hold, hopefully either delaying Okami or being ignored so they can use those C4s later in the round.
Well, Harrison, you mentioned the operator selection on the side of Slippery, and worth mentioning for Okami as well, they're running with the exact same lineup. Same operators, same roles, everything the same. And on LennyGG, most things are different. The only constant is Mikey on the mute and Swaylin on the smoke, but Slippery, Storms, and Geo have all switched off to more top floor, sensible roles. You're bringing out the Melusi, those Melusi Banshees to cover all those quick jump-ins, the top of White Stairs, the big window, and this trophy doorway, and you have those Vulcan shields from Geo to get the job done elsewhere. Rafi attempted to stick a plant, but dies because of it. The toxic smoke doing good work there, but Prompted is able to find a kill onto Storms in the meantime. An absolute bamboozle rushed attempt coming in here from Okami, and while it didn't work immediately, they came out in these engagements. They've got the 2 kills that LennyGG will now have to answer back, and they're not in a terrible position, and it's only been 60 seconds in this round.
They lost their Hibana, sure, but as you can see, this wall is unreinforced and open, plus the 2 operators they killed just so happened to be Mutant Melusi. 2 of those C4 players that Lenny had down below, and the only one left, Geo, well, he's already used his. So Okami no longer have to worry about that form of plant denial. They just have to worry about Swaylin, who actually, because of that rush, doesn't have any gas canisters left either. There is nothing to deny plant here for LennyGG. And Slippery, wow, okay, I just noticed Slippery still has an ADS in pocket. Don't know what that's about, but the ADS isn't going to help him in a plant situation. Anyway, Prompted is just holding this angle. Swaylin is tucked prone to his left, and it seems like Okami are aware of this. There's Subarctic with the nade from down below, finally killing Swaylin. The come up from Geo towards the master side of things gets caught by Prompted. Slippery sure he's able to get 1 refrag, but there's still 3 more bodies for him to find. Prompted goes down inside of Trophy, 2 versus 1, but there's still a minute left for Okami to play with. That is plenty of time to retrieve Diffuser and start this plant attempt, of which Subarctic will do so. Exile can hold the cross to Attic. There's nothing Slippery can do about this. He can't swing this planter, and thus he'll be forced into a retake. 40 seconds now as the clock starts to work against the defense now. He'll pop a Goyo shield, making sure no one can play there, but There was nowhere in range of that anyway. There's one player tucked beside the bunk. Slippery drops down, rotating into security. This has likely been called by the team. They know where he is, and especially as the player jumps out the window, they call Slip is down below. Exile rotates back up, avoiding the Jaeger for as long as possible. I like how Okami are playing this. They don't want to take the fight until it's absolutely necessary, and Slippery does not expect the closing angle from the Ash. A good attack from Okami will tie the score 1-1.
Well, Harrison, before the game, you talked about the importance of the opening frags with these two teams. And right now, you're spot on. That's 2 rounds in a row where we've seen these opening duels go the way, or the winning team go the way in these opening duels here. The first round, of course, it was a successful roam from Slippery, but in round number 2, it was a rush attempt from Okami. Now, generally, when you see a rush attempt like that and it fails so spectacularly, it usually goes the way of the defense. Not only will they have the diffuser in their hand, but they'll have a couple more kills to speak of, and maybe the attack will be in a really uncomfortable position. But in this case, it was kind of all backwards. Okami, with the rush, yes, they lost the diffuser and their planter died, but they won out in the overall scuffle. Their trades were better. They found 2 kills, and while the opening frags didn't come in the most orthodox way, it still got the job done. They got the opening picks, they had the advantage, and they used that advantage very well for the remainder of the round. Plus, all the progress they had made, they had already forced LennyGG to rotate back to site. They had already made them freeze and just hold in a corner. You only took 60 seconds to do that. That means Okami had 2 minutes to sit back and very slowly and methodically determine where the defenders are and deal with them. That's exactly what we saw happen over in the master closet with the nade coming at the feet of Swaylin, I believe that was, on 1 HP. Just methodical play from Okami, figuring out that position and dealing with it. Overall, interesting start, but a great way to close the round.
It seems like LennyGG are going for a very similar hold. ADS is placed inside of closet, the open wall, shield and trophy, and everything. So Okami are probably ready to deal with this. They just can't do the same little rush attempt they had last time, because Lenny will probably look out for it. Rush attempts like that, they usually don't work more than just once. They're a pocket strat, and once a team knows you've done it, it's pretty hard to pull off again. All 3 ADSs, in fact, are dedicated to this master side of things. Here comes the clear, it seems, from Raffi. But no, he's actually going to back up. I wonder what they're so tentative about. Oh, there we go. Never mind. Here's the clear from Raffi. 1 goes in, but there it is. As he clears, Mikey springs up. He gets the kill, actually all the way from Attic. A beautiful shot from the mute. Another one goes the way of Lenny before Okami finally refrags, but that's 2 of your players responsible for clear, and those shields still have not been dealt with.
Well, right now, with the opening pick, advantage Lenny as they reposition and simply just look to hold down this site. We talked about the type of Oregon we can expect to see and expressed that we aren't entirely sure, but just based on these last 2 rounds, at least the pace of them, really seems like we are seeing quite an aggressive Oregon right now. I mean, sure, we're not seeing an actual plant attempt go down at this exact moment, but Okami are making swift progress. They are taking early gunfights, and they are not afraid to get down and dirty at the onset of the round. Same thing goes for this one. They did lose out on those opening engagements, though, but they are continuing to identify where these LennyGG defenders are positioned, and they're trying to deal with that. They'll spot out Storms in the attic, but they won't be able to get a headshot or pretty much anything in that direction. Both Exile and Prompted holding down this angle, and Storms, unlucky timing, will toss a C4 towards the top of Armory Stairs. So, while remaining unscathed, Okami have done a whole bunch of nothing in the last 45 seconds. No kills to speak of since the opening flurry, and now they've got to get going. They're going to try to do it by pushing in through Attic, but both players fall to Storms, leaving WAV alone.
That was a little bit odd. It looked like Okami checked their hard right, and they both checked their hard right, rather than covering each other's crosses. That's going to result in both the deaths of your entry players. Now it's just WAV in a 1 versus 4. And I think we have a mute jammer bug.
10 seconds left.
Yes, we do. That's unfortunate. Hopefully it gets fixed. But WAV is just going to chill. He's going to take this as an impromptu timeout, bait out some kills in stat pad, I guess. But LennyGG holding on a trophy fervently, getting their first 2 kills on the Master Balk. That was both your Hibana responsible for burn and your Iana responsible for clear, leaving it all up for Prompted to do. Sure, they finally did get the shield, but once the rush came through for Attic and they both looked the wrong way, it was over for Okami. Lenny will reestablish their 1-round lead.
Always bold going back to the same site twice, considering, you don't want to risk putting yourself in a hole where you have to then pick, your tertiary objective because you really don't want to go back there a third time. And it's never usually a good sign to see teams do that. But sometimes it works out, and sometimes teams will make the proper adjustments. And in this case, LennyGG, they said to themselves, you know what? There is no chance that rush attempt is going to work again. Let's play our game. We know we can do it better, and that they did. Pretty aggressive engagements again from Okami. They really seem to be forcing that play style, and, well, we've seen the results. Inconsistent is one word I'd put it on. But LennyGG, they're not shying away from aggression either. I mean, even though Subarctic and Raffi were quick on the draw and they wanted to fight that early engagement too, I mean, LennyGG, they had somebody positioned, ready to take that fight. So they're not shying away from this aggression either, and I'm wondering how that's going to shift, especially as we get later in this half and both of these teams start to get a little better idea of exactly what their opponents are bringing to the table. Because right now, it's kind of a standoff in terms of the aggression. We're seeing an even balance from both of these squads. But as we head back down to the basement, we're going to see a sight that we've already seen play out once with LennyGG taking a decisive victory here. It's now our time to see how Okami can learn from their mistakes and adjust themselves.
We will see if for 4 rounds in a row, if the round is decided within the first minute or so. It's been pretty... Opening engagements have been pretty quick so far. Slippery will already take some damage. I'm not quite sure from what. Maybe just a stray pre-fire from one of these attackers. But as this Oaf opens up the attic wall that allows for a double push into Kids, a much more efficient clear from Okami results in the death of Slip. They handled that way better. That was an incredible adjustment. And not only that, but they'll be able to find 2 more. Exile takes Geo, Prompted takes Storms, and Swaylin will find the first refrag for his team, but it was all the way towards Tower. Now he and Mikey have to both fall back down the stairs. That allows so much control for Okami. Here's Subarctic with the cutoff. He knows the other player's behind Pillar, and he finds the second as well. Beautiful play from Okami. The roam clear going all according to plan. Both players from Lenny having to rotate back, getting cut down by Sub. We once again tie the score.
Yeah, well, I talked about adapting, about changing your play mid-game, and wow, Okami just delivered on that promise. Round number 1, the round they struggled with, LennyGG and their very information denial-heavy setup denied map control for Okami for a large part of the round. Well, let's say a minute 30 of the round, right? And even though that's not an exorbitant amount of time, it was enough that Okami were a little bit uncomfortable with it, struggled when it came to taking first floor control and eventually pushing into the site itself. So this time Okami said, you know what? Let's go really fast. Let's just expedite everything. We know exactly where we can expect these players to be positioned. We've cleared this out hundreds of times. Let's get it done right away. And they did that. They had a great job forcing out, I believe that was Slippery on the visual in Kids. That was a stellar job getting that kill. And from there, they just continued to roll their way on through. I think that round was over within a minute 30, give or take. And that is exactly what Okami needed to do to adapt. They sped everything up, but kept the pace and the control of that attack, within reason. They didn't just start sprinting through without control. They had drones at everybody's feet. They had somebody behind playing the trade at every moment, clearing every step of the way, and getting every kill they deserve.
WAV disconnected, but I don't know if we can rehost because it was after prep. Nope, never mind. The rehost has been approved. So, luckily enough for Okami, they will not have to play out a 4v5. We like that because we like teams being at their full strength when it comes to these rounds. So, once the rehost comes back, it'll be same site, same ops, but we got to get everyone in the lobby first. We kind of already touched on everything, Jonah. I don't really know what to talk about. I'm horrible at stalling. What do you want to talk about?
Well, I mean, we're going into these next few rounds. Listen, the pattern was it was basement, dorms, basement. So we're probably. Do you know what site they just picked? Do you see? Because it has to be the same one. He's rewinding history. They can't go dorms.
It was laundry.
It was laundry? Okay. We know they can't go dorms. They're going to repeat basement again. So that's worth mentioning, right? They just went basement and they just failed miserably. That is LennyGG, right? They tried the roam setup once again, the very same setup we saw in round number 1, but this time Okami chewed through it with lightning efficiency. Right. How are they going to change something up here, right? Are they going to go for the same hold? I mean, that's what they did on dorms when they wanted to repeat the site. Or is it going to be more of a traditional on-site lockdown? I wouldn't be surprised if we see that, right? I wouldn't be surprised if they just try to hold for a bit longer just on the bottom floor, because that's technically what they ended up doing in that first round anyway.
Yeah, I think we saw in the operator picks, I want to say we saw a less roam conducive lineup. So I would imagine Lenny at this point are like, all right, they figured out the hold. They know how we're going to play it. They crushed the roam because, I mean, really, they won it the first time because Okami weren't prepared for it. They weren't prepared for the aggressive roam. They weren't prepared for Slip's retake upstairs. But this time, they were like, all right, this is what Lenny are going to do. They're not changing anything up. Let's destroy the Vigil, have Exile coming through dining. He gets a pick with the Jackal. He cuts off the Freezer player as well. I believe he got the down and Prompted got the kill. And, Mikey and Swillian were stuck retaking down tower. Lenny are not going to do that again. They're smarter than that. At least, I would certainly hope so. And I would imagine it's a little bit more close to the chest. It's a little more turtle style. And I think this is where we're really going to see how Okami clear, right? Because that's one of the biggest criticisms. Okami didn't really do a great job clearing. And now, if you're attacking basement, and they're turtling up and they've got Maestro cams, they've got, a shield, an elbow, stuff like that. It's going to really rely on how efficiently you can burn the util. And if Okami have, hit the books and fixed their mistakes, then hey, it could work out. But if they once again, unfortunately, fall victim to just the sheer amount of utility the defense is bringing, then they're kind of screwed. And no, it turns out I lied. It wasn't laundry, it's actually meeting. I mean, meaning you still kind of have to deal with that because there's probably going to be shields upstairs.
Right. We saw Slippery when I was thinking back on the round. I remember seeing Slippery set up a Vulcan shield on the master door upstairs. So based on that, if we're going to see the same setup again, which I presume we are, that means we're going to see a top-down hold. That means not only do Okami have to chew through that again, but LennyGG needs to tighten it up because now, the attack doesn't have to go through 2 floors to get to the objective. It's just the one. You clear top floor, and especially when you're attacking meeting, if you just get attic control, you've basically got the site all to yourself at that point. So I suspect that is going to be the plan of Okami. I mean, they did it so well last time. Why not try it again? But LennyGG are going to need to clean it up on this top floor. I suspect that's why we're going to see the Malusi come out once again. I suspect that's why the Vulcan shields are in play here, trying to just hold down these more hard-stuck power positions as long as you can, just to make this hold a little bit more viable.
5 seconds remaining.
So they've got one shield on the purple bunk, one shield in trophy. Okay, so that's where the other Goyo shield is. It's similarly over towards trophy. They've even got a Banshee on main, and the other shield is facing dining? Oh, no, Gio's thinking better of it. It's facing split. Okay. Well, I mean, the fact that Okami are already in lobby means that that's probably a good reallocation of the utility. Exile and Subarctic clearing from one side of the map. Raffi with Prompted and Wev. I mean, they're getting ready to just push right through split. Here comes the explosion. Here comes the push. They're finding one player actually on cams, but no! Slip gets off it just in time, and not only does he get prompted, but he finds Raffi as well. Exile, he'll get one refrag on the Geo. He has control of Kitchen, but his players are falling around him. His teammates are all dead. Soylent finds Web. It's just Sub and Exile. The duo G36 sees to clean it up, but Slip finds his third. It's Subarctic in a 1 versus 4. The rush through Split, unfortunately failing here for Okami, and they all die within the first minute.
Huh. Okami continuing that aggression. They're really trying to be unexpected here, but it's very probable that this quote-unquote unexpected push was predictable. I mean, this is a site where split rushes happen, I mean, I'd say maybe 33% of the time, right? Which is a lot, because we don't see this site that much, but when we do, it gets spicy and it gets crazy very fast. And considering that Okami did a full rush on a site upstairs on dorms, a site that you rarely ever rush ever, I think LennyGG may have had an inkling that that was going to happen, and I think we saw that slight little, you know, what is it, Spidey sense going off in Geo to say, wait a minute, let's reposition this shield just in case that Okami just tried to throw everything at us. They did. It didn't work. Slippery got pretty fortunate with the timing of that, hopping off the camera at the right moment. But overall, LennyGG doing an effective job of shutting that down, and that marks 5 rounds in a row that the opening pick has marked the victor of a round.
I really got a feel for Prompted there. If they were just a little bit quicker through Split, he would have actually caught Slip on cams. Once Prompted died, there was no one left to cover the back of Raffi. He went down. Everything just kind of fell into place. So hopefully, Okami, once again, are taking an impromptu tack timeout. I believe Sub was out of the building at about 1:40. So it's been quite the long talk. At least, you know, 1:40 is, by Siege standards, it's been quite the long talk.
15 seconds remaining.
If I'm Okami, I am talking about being more consistent when it comes to the early round. We didn't get to see them really use their clear, which is what I was hoping for, because it would probably give us a better idea heading into probably what's going to be Laundry, because they can't play dorms again. That would give us a better idea of, hey, if Lenny don't play the roam again, you know, what can we expect from Okami? Are they going to be competent on the util clear or not? I mean, they were bringing a Flores, so it's the util clear isn't necessarily as important, but they're not bringing it again this time. It's going to be Laundry, and it doesn't look like Lenny are playing the roam. They're bringing the Mira. Slip is on the Vigil showing it. I imagine he'll 6th off. Either him, Mikey, or Storms. Nope, they are all locked in, so I stand corrected. They're still going to play the roam. They just have a little bit more reinforcement on site with that mirror.
Attackers need to locate and defuse
Right, they're
bombs.
trading the Valkyrie from this same setup with the Mira. So still an information focus, right? But it's less off-site information and more area denial on the site itself. Allows you to have that fragging position, whether that's facing Freezer, facing Laundry, or facing towards pillars, or even elbow. Those mirror windows can be powerful just about everywhere, but it does mean you're going to be missing out on the Valk cams that enabled you to hold the map for as long as you did in round number 1. Not only that, but even when they did fall off the map control in round number 1, it was okay because they had the Valk cameras in those positions. They had intel from just about every key point on the map that they needed just to know when the attack is coming and where it's coming from. So the mirror windows will give you immediate information that you can use in the moment on the site itself, but you're not going to have as much assistance for these roamers. They're going to have to play a bit more together, and maybe Storms will have to capture a drone or two and drone those around the map and see if they can support that in that sense.
I wonder how Okami are going to deal with this roam for the 3rd time. Wow, okay, Geo as Mira is in T2 of Tower, watching the armory window. That's a pretty default pre-fire. That's been around for a very long time. It's not going to find anyone. Exile is getting ready to hot breach big window? No, okay, not anymore. All right, I think his teammates have confirmed that, yep, there's actually nobody up here, so we don't need you to do that. The closest player to the attack right now appears to be Mikey and Kitchen, although I believe I just saw the Vigil crouch walk up towards Tower. No, Slip is Yeah, Slip is up towards top tower, tag teaming with Geo, the attic wall now open. And Lenny are playing the roam, but they're playing it differently. It's not exactly the same. They don't have the vigil, posted up in kids and such. And Lenny are falling back, this time with their lives. Not giving the picks to Okami is definitely going to be a huge boon for this defense, but once again, leaving Slip all alone upstairs. He was all they needed to turn the round back in their favor, so Okami better be careful of this vigil.
Here he comes.
Oh, they've got no clue.
Yeah, he's going to go for the swing here. Thankfully, Prompted is prone. I think droning, though. But it will spot out Slippery, a pre-fire to follow, and Slippery to rotate away. Near disaster for Okami, but they will avoid it. As we all know the power of these opening picks. It's yet to happen here. I believe this is the longest in a round we've seen this without an opening kill actually happen. As I said, that Slippery nearly walked into some bullets from the E-box hatch. But right now, everyone's still alive in this round, and site control still firmly in the grasp of LennyGG. Storms looking to change the course of this round by getting aggressive here on the tower stairs, just hoping to hold off this pressure from Prompted as long as possible. And at least they'll be successful in delaying that, but all this E-box pressure now fully building. Storm is forced back, and the drop is in.
Prompted with the first frag onto Slippery, so down goes that Vigil who's playing inside the site. A D4 to come out through the gas canister, lights up Subarctic, but does not find the kill. Luckily enough for Lenny, they still hold that elbow control, so Swilling can stop anyone pushing through bunker, but 4 Okami members are already posted up in pillar. Prompted finding his second kill into the site. Mikey goes down, though that C4 has already been expended, but there's no more of those left for the defense. Another explosive will answer, this time from the attack. Down goes Storms, Geo refrags, Wab is actually downed. This is an effective 3v2 now, but the plant is being completed by Raffi, and it will in fact go down. It's a post plant now, the clock turning against the defense. Long angle being held by Geo, only nets damage on the Exile, but he still finds both the last kills. Peeking around the single panel and the long hallway, Okami, they deal with the roam by really not dealing with it at all, and the site execute is near flawless.
That time, Okami just played better on the site rather than on the clear. So far, it's been the clear of Okami that's been most impressive. In LennyGG, their on-site pressure and their team play on the objective has been spectacular. But in round number 6, yet another round where the opening kill denoted the victor of the round, Okami went straight for the site, and they got it done where it mattered. Just getting the important kills, playing it really well. Prompted with the 2 openers, the first onto Storms as he retreated back down the long hall. The second, another kill in the long hall. The third, a beautiful nade from Subarctic, and at that point, the site control was firmly in Okami's grasp, and that is one excellent way to not only make a statement, but to end your attacking half 3-3. A good half for both of these teams. I think they're both happy with the outcome, but they would have liked one more round if possible. Now the focus shifts to Okami and how they can set up their defense, and it's LennyGG who now have to clear their way through the setups of Okami instead. One big difference we're going to see already is this top floor hold to kick things off, and both the Valkyrie and the Aruni on the top floor setup, something we did not see from LennyGG at all.
Yeah, like you said, the Aruni is now being brought. So really, Okami have more than Lenny were bringing. Lenny at max had a Goyo, a Smoke, and a Jaeger. And Okami are now bringing in those laser gates to the mix, which are used again for util and time burn. You usually have to dedicate either a drone to it, an Iana clone, a flashbang. If you're all out of utility, sometimes you even have to use nades. But there is a player from Okami in T3 of Tower. T3 of Tower is a position that we don't see played nearly as much anymore on New Oregon, but it's starting to come back little by little. We saw from Wav's perspective, I don't know how many ADSs he actually has dedicated to this position. I would imagine most of them are on site just due to the sheer amount of shields they have, and yeah, he doesn't actually have any with him. So, I mean, if LennyGG want to, they could just send a nade up and kill him, but they're just moving away from tower, maybe completely abandoning their attic push altogether. Mikey is crouch walking behind a drone downstairs. I imagine hunting for Subarctic. He's the C4 player that Okami have placed inside of kitchen, but judging by the drone work and where Mikey is starting to move in, I don't know if Lenny know this.
The one thing they do seem to know is that Dorms itself is left somewhat vulnerable. We just saw a drone go up the white stairs and it saw a whole lot of nothing. we may see a more aggressive maneuver on the dorm side itself, but right now, the focus still remains below. A nade coming in from Storms is going to do all but 20 HP of damage to Prompted, who will remain stalwart in the kid's corner. Still eager to possibly play vertical, find something down below. But right now, this is a very different attacking round than we saw on the other side of the coin. LennyGG are taking a lot more time, and it's still unclear where they want to approach from. You've got people just about everywhere. The lack of big window presence makes it unclear if we're going to see this white stairs take or not. Prompted will go down, so that is a definite good thing for LennyGG as they begin this possible kids take, but that was actually quickly solved here by Wab as he got the res off. So everyone is back in this fight. It's going to be a 10-player lobby to close this one out, but quickly Mikey responds, getting the kill onto Subarctic. Exile with the trade to keep things even.
Another one for Exile and another for Wab. Make it 2 for Wab. 2 for the Aruni, 2 for the Jaeger. And the Iana is stuck toiling around in sight. He eventually falls to the low HP Prompted, who was not finished off earlier. LennyGG, while they spent a lot of time taking map control and establishing angles, didn't really do anything to affect the site until the dying seconds of the round. Sure, there was a failed flank from Sub, but Exile destroying everyone trying to push up through White, Wav holding off kids in Attic. And Lenny just, I guess they just decided they needed to do something and decided to barrel through, to which Okami said, no, you can't do that. They held on beautifully. Okami, Lenny, with the beginning of Lenny's attack, Lenny didn't get ahead of themselves, but that slow, methodical attack they did play just right into the waiting arms of Okami, because Okami, very similarly, were not getting ahead of themselves and were not exposing themselves to LennyGG. Okami were happy to just sit there and wait out the dying seconds, and it was a decision that ended up winning them the round.
Yeah, that was the first round that a little bit of worry, came from one of these teams. Okami have obviously made some interesting decisions on their attacking side as well. The 2 rush attempts, the one that failed miserably and one that actually ended up working out. But LennyGG really not giving me a ton of confidence in that attack. It just never really had cohesion from the start. And that kind of lack of cohesion continued all the way through the round up until the execute. It was messy the entire time. It seemed that maybe they were uncertain, maybe a little bit ambiguous as to their exact plan of attack and where they wanted to approach from, and that's something they're going to have to remedy here, especially now that we head downstairs and time waste becomes even more of a factor. You have more utility to get through, more players to clear your way through as well. One of those is Exile, who is holding a pretty typical position here in security. With that hatch open, can drop down at a moment's notice, but has 2 players nearby to support. One of those in kitchen, that's going to be Wab. The second, Subarctic, on the top of the freezer stairs. Mikey not challenging them for now, instead avoiding them to clear directly on this top floor. That's where Raffi's position, tucked close in attic.
Subarctic takes damage, I believe, from a frag grenade still hovering around top freezer. And Jonah, before I forget, fun fact, though there was a near instantaneous refrag, Dorms, that round number 7 is the first round of this entire game where the team with the opening pick did not win the round. Mikey killed Sub on the flank for the first frag, and Lenny ended up losing anyway. Following closely behind an Iana drone, Mikey will clear tower where Raffi was previously playing. He's low HP, but was still able to get away with his life. And Mikey, now slowly creeping down the tower stairs, is hunting for this kill. Subarctic also taking a lot of damage. Exile lit up to just 1 point of HP. He'll actually be down and finished off by his own team smoke, meant to give him cover. Exile will just sprint right through it, and the first death in round number 8 will in fact be a team kill. That is an unfortunate prospect for Okami to have to deal with, but ladies and gentlemen, I would like to remind you that the site is actually in the basement. We just spent about 2 minutes on Lenny's roam clear, of which only one frag, we can call it, will be netted. Exile had a C4 in pocket, and that will go unused. Subarctic still has 2 gas canisters, and I believe Raffi still has his. But Raffi was playing in tower, has now rejoined his team on site. The shield that Prompted is playing behind will go down, so he no longer has this little bastion of protection in the rotate. And trying to take a peek against Slippery, he'll get killed by the Ash. Now a 5 versus 3, a 2-man advantage for LennyGG. It comes from the push from Mikey. He finds 1 kill. Geo finds the other. And it's just Web in a 1 versus 4. Sure, he's got 1 on Mikey, but there will be nothing for him after that. And Lenny will continue this back and forth contest, tying us up once again.
Kind of the same pattern for Lenny continues, right? The roam game and the clear game. First on defense, it was the roam that had a couple of struggles. And on attack, that roam clear left a good bit to be desired. But when it comes to the site pressure and the actual execute, that's when LennyGG is playing really well. Once again, a perfect example. Their roam clear was solid. It was okay. It took a good bit of time, and they got a kill because Okami gave them a kill with a nice little TK. Of course, that was forced upon them because the clear from LennyGG was coming through, but I'd like to see that happen a little bit more expeditiously because LennyGG, if they're not careful, they, like in the previous round, or 2 rounds ago, they're going to find themselves really struggling on the clock when it comes down to those final pushes. But because we saw a very decisive execute once LennyGG actually got down to that basement site, that little extra time it took, it didn't really matter all that much. They just came right down into Laundry and Freezer. We had an excellent shot, 2 excellent shots from Slippery, who just dealt with that deployable shield, holding that long angle, not only into Laundry itself, but all the way into Elbow, a position we saw Okami looking to challenge into Laundry from. So just great job covering all their bases and playing off their teammates, making sure to maintain the man advantage that had been, well, gifted to them from the onset of the round.
It has just been round after round. The only team to take 2 in a row so far has been Okami on round 6 and 7, but Lenny were the ones with the first round win. So that only established a 1-round lead, and very quickly, Lenny have caught back up once again. These 2 teams throughout the first 8 rounds, seemingly unable to shake each other. And I think I can speak for both of us when I say this is exactly what we were looking for in a game between Lenny and Okami. 2 teams who are very exciting to watch and cast. The longer this match goes on, oh, the happier I am. I love a close game, especially between teams like this. Lenny, once again, will clear from the west side of the map, see that everything is all good. There is no roam being established by Okami. It's once again much more close to the site, much more anchor heavy, with 1 player towards the back tower stairs with a very easy fallback. Lenny, again, going to try and use their Laundry Freezer push. The only difference now, though, the only thing they have to deal with is Okami now bringing a Mira.
Yeah, this is a really good adaptation because they've taken all of this pressure off their roam. They're not even going to deploy a roam at all, and they're going to just really anchor down the site. That's exactly what Mira allows you to do well. You combine that with the Vulcan shields, with the Aruni gates, and you are playing pretty good old-fashioned Oregon basement defense, a utility suck hold where you're trying to waste as much time, not on the other floors, but actually when it comes down to this site. Exactly what LennyGG were strong in. Okami are trying to counter directly with this on-site hold, and so far it's working. LennyGG have gotten themselves in the right position. They're at the bottom of the freezer stairs, they're at the bottom of the laundry stairs, but they have several players and a lot of utility to cut their way through still. A smoke's going to help them out as they're going to try to cover this cross, but easily. Raffi will not only deal with the X-Kairos, but swiftly cut down the rest. Exile with 2 and Subarctic a beautiful C4, and in the split second, Okami get 5 kills in a row, taking the round.
That was beautiful from Okami. I love their hold. So we want to talk about that real quick. Every possible position was covered. I believe it was it WAV towards back tower? Somebody was towards back tower. But the main thing I want to focus on is, yes, Okami had back tower presence, but they also had the shield on the rotate. They had open head holes in closet. Those 2 are to prevent the laundry push. And why are they covering the laundry push so heavily? Because Prompted is playing the mirror window into Freezer. So Okami have a really mean crossfire to protect that Mira player, and that one Mira, unless dealt with, will deny a Freezer push in full. You just can't get past that unless you get lucky and catch him when he swings around the window, which is extremely difficult. So what do they try to do? They try to Hibana the window, or at least under it, to make that position unplayable, because at that point, you know, Prompted would have been caught in the corner. He would have had to rotate right into the waiting arms of someone holding a shallow angle in laundry. But what do they have? They have Raffi by Metal Box to take out the Hibana pellets. Every conceivable option that Lenny had to deal with it, Okami had accounted for. And it was perfectly done by the defense. So by the time Lenny were like, all right, we can't get through this mirror window, we just have to full send it, it was a kill from Prompted, I believe with the a C4, a double kill from someone else, either WAV or Sub, and Exile cleaning up the other two. That was one of those situations where Lenny, in their failure to clear any utility, left themselves extremely exposed on the attack without a single foothold.
This is a round where LennyGG need to really fix some of these mistakes that we saw last time, right? Their Storm's attack was the most egregious, and I think this efficiency is exactly their solution.
Oh.
A drone at Mikey's feet and almost losing that out, but he will get one kill and actually almost lined up two, as Okami were very eager to take that fight as well. But that's the opening pick, and that's going LennyGG's way. You know, thankfully for Okami, last time technically LennyGG did also get the opening pick, so they can at least maintain hope in that sense. But now that they only have 3 players remaining, things are going to get a little bit tougher. Thankfully, you've got Raffi, who is very aggressive and swinging on the tower stairs and collecting a kill onto Geo. So that's going to deny what would have been the attic-sided pressure and the Maverick opening up holes in the attic wall. But it still means that LennyGG have an advantage. And because they knew Raffi's position, they knew the only option he had was to rotate all the way around into the basement. That is another easy kill for LennyGG. It's going to be Prompted and Exile to claw this one back. But with a minute 15, LennyGG have indeed remedied their problems. And not only that, they have more than enough time to work with for an eventual site push. They can come from pretty much anywhere, and what they're doing is now forcing Okami to get aggressive to claw this round back, but their aggression, it just isn't in the right place. Exile is actually well off the site, could potentially get a good flank here if LennyGG are caught with their pants down, but you do have a couple of drones up and a lot of players willing to frag out. There's Storm's a nice nade coming through, and he'll finish it off as well with the kill onto Exile. Great job there adapting, and LennyGG will keep us tied.
I believe that was a 3K for Mikey in the round 2 for Storms. Wonderful clear from Lenny. Mikey right behind a drone, just walking through Green Hall pretty much as soon as the round started. We like to call that pulling of ladder, just walking into the building as soon as the round starts. He has the info. He finds Sub. I don't know how he killed WAV as well, but he did. And sure, Raffi gets a refrag, but the only place he can rotate is the basement. Lenny know that. They have both Freezer and Laundry covered, and all they need do is but wait. Raffi eventually succumbs to the waiting arms of Mikey. Sure, there's, you know, it's a 2 versus 4, and Prompted and Exile are the highest performers on Okami thus far after the rehost at least. But, you know, I don't know if they expected the push to come from White, because we saw, like you had highlighted, the aggression that they had displayed trying to duo take in a trophy was misplaced. Everyone from the attack was already on the other side of the map. Exile leaves his teammate alone on site. Prompted, because he has to cover too many angles, just ends up falling to a nade. And there's nothing Exile can do. Once again, it is a tie score as we continue our back and forth contest. We have now reestablished the tradition in the past 3 rounds that the opening kill does dictate the winner. It seemed like perhaps round 7 was just an outlier.
I mean, and barely so, right? I mean, it was an instant trade, so
yeah.
You could, you know, barely call that like an entry pick, but we will, and we can't count it for the stats. But yes, pretty much almost 100% consistency. It's all about these opening engagements, because the team that is winning them is doing a more than brilliant job of playing together after that point. It's really about who is going to get the foothold in the round first, who is going to act first, and that team is generally going to come out on top here. But we're going to finally see a tertiary objective from the Okami defense. We saw it in round number 5 from LennyGG, and, well, we're going to see meeting once again, but this time in round number 11. Coming at the same point in the defense, right when Okami can't quite figure out a site they want to go to. Dorms just isn't cutting it for them, a bit too inconsistent, and because basement is locked, meeting is the play. And now we'll see how LennyGG want to undertake this clear, really. We're not really seeing them do much of a clear. That's why I'm uncertain that that's the best way to characterize this right now. They haven't entered on that top floor. They haven't entered much of anywhere right now. They're trying to just gauge where they want to approach from. Maybe we're going to see a dining-sided take, because right now we'll finally see Slippery on this basement floor right now, but they still have a lot of work to do.
Attackers recovered the diffuser.
About a minute and a half left, just making sure there's no one in the basement. Slip crouch walking through, checking the cam, and that's exactly why. He didn't want to tip Wav off to his position, and that is a very early and free kill for the Ash. Mikey, though, team killing his teammate before taking out Raffi. There was a price to be paid for that kill, and what? Slip got that kill onto Exile? No way! Slip is insane! He'll find his third, and it just leaves Sub in a 1 versus 2. He's upstairs armed with only a Scorpion on the Ella against Mikey and Swaylin. Mikey, who has sight, and Swaylin, who now, because they have a minute left, is slowing down, hitting the brakes, and saying, Mikey, I'll drone this guy out. I'll let you know where he is. I'll let you know if it's safe to plant. They spot him inside of Kids. You can see the attackers now rotating over towards Meeting, knowing that the split plant is completely safe unless Sub pulls some dastardly scheme out of his pocket. He unfortunately cannot see the plant spot from this hatch, and Mikey's able to get away scot-free. There's no rotate in Attic as well. Sub just has to drop. He can't win the fight against Mikey just yet, only lighting the Zof up to 1 HP. But Swaylin is holding the angle from security. He'll call out the location. Swaylin actually gets away and is able to pre-fire through the wall. And Lenny, more specifically Slip, completely opening up the site. I can't believe he landed that flick onto Exile.
You know, I really want to see that from his perspective, because from what we saw, it was Exile coming in, and I didn't even see him turn. Like,
dude, yeah, Slip on on the spectator screen. It looked like he was still looking at the rotate indication. Yeah. I mean,
impressive shot.
That must have been
take
like
a look at that after
a shot of a lifetime.
I mean, here it is again. We'll see the replay, and actually worth talking over. That shot, he hit that. Wow. That is impressive. That is impressive stuff. Definitely gonna wait to see the Twitter clip, because it's got to come at some point. But great round from LennyGG. Actually, finally breaking our streak of bouncing back and forth in terms of round count. Okami won round 6 and 7, but it was between the half switch, so I'm not gonna really count that. So maybe LennyGG taking some of this momentum for their own, and Okami realizing that, have taken a little bit of a tactical timeout here to regroup. They're going to head, I believe, to basement here next, as that site, they did win it the last time they were there, and it has unlocked. So they will have a chance to repeat that basement hold. And if you recall, that was the hold that had a lot of nothing and for about 2.5 minutes. And then when it came down to the final execute, it was every single kill going Okami's way in about 3 seconds. It was excellent on their part, holding every single spot they needed down. It's just another chance for LennyGG to adapt and change how they want to take this.
Yeah, but I do think if there is any site that Okami is going to take this to OT on, it's probably going to be Laundry. Like you said, it's going to be a pretty similar setup with the Mira, the Goyo, the Aruni gates, and everything. Curious to see how LennyGG adapt. Last time we saw LennyGG running the same defensive setup, Okami picked it apart perfectly. Will LennyGG have the same adaptability?
5 seconds to insertion.
They have... Okay, they have the exact same operator lineup as well. My question is going to be, can Geo make effective use of his Capital bolts? Because if you establish the necessary control as the attack, if you can send down the Capital bolts and work the timing correctly with your team, you don't actually really need to clear the Miras. You can just disable them with his utility. So, in my mind, that is probably the most reasonable adjustment here for LennyGG, but hey, maybe they'll be able to clear freezer easier and actually get that mirror window done and dusted.
Well, looks like Slippery is going to continue the...
Ooh.
Oh, no!
Wow!
Continue the aggression from the previous round, but a kill that looked like it was nearly free.
That was like a perfect circle.
Yeah, it's going to be slightly missed. Slippery painting prompted. All around prompted instead. And that means now LennyGG have to do it the regular way. Storms is going to drone out the freezer stairs. Nobody to contest. And LennyGG have fully secured control of this first floor. With considering only 60 seconds have passed, this is very good progress to, comparing it to their other 2 basement attacks that we've seen from them. But if you recall, it really matters only about what happens on the site itself with what Okami are bringing on this hold. We'll see if LennyGG go for another laundry freezer kind of take. We saw how that worked out last time, and, well, it didn't. Maybe we're going to see this rotation around towards pillars. Look, we have 3 attackers now who've rotated all the way around towards that tower side. Yes, you've got 2 stragglers, but LennyGG, they may be approaching from the opposite side, the north of this basement site.
Yeah, I like the LennyGG adjustment deciding, hey, the mirror windows are all to stop a laundry freezer push, then we won't push it. It looked like Subarctic was holding onto the mirror windows late in the round to see, where are they going to be pushing from? Where should I put these? And he actually put it on closet-facing laundry. Raffi now only 1 gas canister remaining in his pocket with 50 seconds left to delay, and there's no C4 in prompted. Just subs. So they only have 1 C4 to play with. And as the Jaeger runs through, Webb actually lands that shot on a slip. An uncharacteristic whiff on the Jaeger. A fight he probably really should have won. Now puts his team into disadvantage. And Geo, he finally gets that trade. No swing from the mirror just yet. A 4 versus 4, 25 seconds for the attackers to play with. Here comes Swalen, bearing 9 in hand. The pre-fire finds Raffi. It's a +1 man count for his team, but Mikey can't find the kill. It's Subarctic and prompted. The dual vectors to find them, and Exile whips out the pistol, finishing off the last 2. Okami will take it to OT despite the adjustment from Lenny.
Well, the back and forth continues in Okami with a tactical timeout under their belt. They come back and they answer with a fervor like we've never seen. That was an impressive hold. It really looked like LennyGG were getting the advantage, but really the story of that round for Lenny is missed opportunities. And really, only 1 player is really victim to that. It's Slippery, missing not only the first opportunity, prompted, reinforcing or barricading the bottom of the laundry stairs a bit later in the round, and with Slippery at the other side of that door. And then Slippery again, missing a shot onto Wav while Wav was full sprinting into the blue bunker area. And Slippery holding that angle just did not quite catch it. There it is, Wav calling it out in all chat as well. Lucky you missed. Because yes, the round would have been very different had Slippery not only gotten that first kill, but the second. Either of them, I think LennyGG would have taken, because not only would they have been in an advantage, but Slippery would not have died. You wouldn't have slowed down that blue take, and I think we would have seen a lot more successful attack. With that win, Okami now get the privilege of defending basement again in OT.
10 seconds to insertion.
And normally, a caster's favorite thing to do when it comes to OT is say, oh, would you look at this? It was 4-2, both defensive halves. And that means the advantage, is in Okami's favor. But no, it's an even 3-3. So I've got no idea what the hell's going to happen heading into OT. What I do know, though, is Okami are yet again playing the same 5 ops that have been, well, their recipe for success so far on Laundry. I mean, if it's worked twice, you might as well do it again. Lenny's adjustment did not work out thanks to Okami's play. Early Iana clone being destroyed by Exile, and he does not want to contest Mikey. He's going to quickly fall back. Smart move, not giving up that opening pick. I'm wondering, what do you do if you're Lenny? You tried pushing laundry, you tried pushing freezer. It didn't work because you couldn't deal with the mirror windows. You try again. You try pushing tower, this time completely circumventing the mirror windows. But Okami are holding on to tower, and there's really nothing you can do about it. You've already tried 2 possible solutions. What's the third option for Lenny?
I'm thinking full blue push maybe. Commit harder to elbow and take control of supply room from that way. Obviously, that doesn't really provide you a lot of options once Okami realized that, but, you know, that way you get around the mirror windows and potentially you get around anything that Okami are prepared for at this point. I mean, once again, you've got Rappy and Wab holding down this north side of the basement. Of course, the smoke on the stairs. Wab just holding down pillars itself. And right now, that's exactly where LennyGG are looking to attack. They've got the E-box hatch on open, the Surya gate now dealt with, and now it just comes down to getting the pillars crossfire that they need. Slippery will rotate and take up this position in blue once again. Hopefully, not going to be missing those shots this time. Nade from Storm should be on the mark, but Rappy made a quick escape and will survive to use the 2 remaining Toxic Babes and this shotgun in this very aggressive tower stairs position. Still has the barbed wire to work with, and there's the second Toxic Babe expended. But this blue pressure that I suggested maybe could use a little bit bolstering is going to be built here. Now Swaylin will join the Ashe on this push, and we may see a greater commitment to forcing out these pillar players. That's exactly why Exile is going to come over and join their 2 teammates.
Something else last time that we didn't really see from Gio is I didn't see the Capitão's utility used all that effectively, so hopefully he's made better work of the nades, but Storm's already with the gun, taking out Rappy the smoke on tower stairs. Slippery's been down for the trouble. Wab and Exile going huge. 3 kills unanswered for Lenny. Make it a 4th. It's Storm's alone. He'll get one onto Exile, turning around, 180ing Wab. It's a 1 versus 2. We've nearly evened out. He might go for the pickup on Geo, but there's no time. Only 12 seconds, and he's very low HP. Swinging it out towards Supply. He doesn't know there's a player pushing over towards Long Haul. It's actually the Aruni gate that finished off his down teammate of Geo. Okami, once again, holding onto Laundry with their recipe for success. Those same 5 operators, and they take the advantage in overtime.
All right, the first match point goes the way of Okami, who now have to attack. And LennyGG, we're going to have to figure out a way to recover from 2 rounds in a row. Now going towards their opponent. I don't think Lenny have taken a timeout here, and a perfect time to do it, as it is match point, and you could use this to regroup, but it seems that they're going to just roll on through with it. And they're going to go to dorms as their site of choice. Now, if we look back at our first half, Dorms was played twice. Okami won it the first time, and Lenny won it the second with some adaptations. Basement more recently went towards Okami, so I definitely understand why LennyGG are going to go to this site here. Of course, the first time we saw this, remember, it was that all-out rush attempt from Okami that actually was a failure, but ended up working out eventually. And once LennyGG dealt with that rush, the other time was pretty cut and dry. They just locked it down, and Okami just could not chew through the pretty thick defense that LennyGG had set up.
10 seconds remaining.
I believe they are... Right, yeah, they're 1-1 on
5
this.
seconds to go.
Yeah.
And the one round they won was on that dorms, that rush, right? Which
The rush,
again,
and then the unrush, and then the re-rush, you know?
yeah, they can't really do that again. Lenny probably expected, or hey, maybe Leonard are like, oh, they already did it once, right? Surely they don't do it again on overtime when they're on match point. And then Okami are like, aha, you thought. But no, it doesn't look like they're going for that. It looks like they're going for a standard downstairs clear. Yeah, it's looking like a downstairs clear, maybe even a big window take, which is, you know, that's what Okami rushed last time. We haven't actually seen a proper, slow, clear take through big window white. And already establishing the rotates downstairs to make ease of access a little bit better towards those rooms. Mikey is the lone player down here, left by Lenny. I mean, well, okay, Valkyrie's down there too, but he's not really anywhere near this attack. It's Mikey and security left to hold on. Of course, the hatch is open for him, and now Gio will come from meeting from Green Hall side to join his teammate, give Mikey a little bit more protection. But now the Mute playing actually right on the lip of the hatch, not ready to drop just yet. Maybe trying to bait someone from the attack to walk right into his sights before he just simply drops down. But either way, a couple drones have been shot from Okami. I mean, we're a minute 45 in, and they've only got 5 drones left.
Yeah, the intel may be a problem here, and especially now that Mikey is still in security. Looks like the bait worked. Droning it out or misdroning it or not even droning it, that's going to be a problem regardless. That's going to cost a life of Prompted. Thankfully, your saving grace if you're Okami is you picked up a kill onto Geo in the meantime. But this one definitely went the way of LennyGG because you've lost a huge gun in Prompted. You've lost a lot of that utility that is very useful when it comes to these last-second pushes. And the Valkyrie, I mean, she's done her job. She put down those cameras, and now you just sit on them and give as much info to your team as possible. That info now coming from Subarctic as the drone will work its way up the stairs, but quickly shot out, so comes up with about nothing. And we can see Okami find themselves in a bit of trouble right now. They don't know exactly where LennyGG are positioned. Their drones becoming an increasing problem, and Mikey is still on the first floor. That was a kill that has no shot of being answered as no one from Okami is even nearby. Subarctic hoping this nade can do it, but is full sprinting again towards Mikey. They knew he was here, and Mikey will go unabated yet again. Wow. Finally answers, but it may be too late. There's only 2 players remain, and they have 20 seconds to get this execute. Raffi sprinting in, gets past 1, but Storms quickly gets the kill back. It's all up to WAV against 3, and with 15 seconds, LennyGG are looking to send this one to round 15, and Swaylin will make that certain. We're going to max OT.
Really poor clear from Okami, not fully droning security. Mikey was left misdrone, and sure, like you said, it was a trade, but that trade is in the favor of Lenny, and then Mikey is allowed to retake security, despite 2 Okami players still being downstairs. Where was the flank watch? Where are the air jabs? Where are the drones that Prompted should be watching if he's dead? Mikey should not have been able to come back for free. He kills Exile, and then why is Sub looking at the ceiling? If that was called out to his team, Sub should have been aware that of the possibility that Mikey is going to be pressing him further. But he's staring at the sky. Mikey gets another easy kill. Sure, it's refragged, but Raffi and WAV are separated. WAV is coming up white. Raffi has to jump in big window with little to no support. He dies in sight, and there's no trade. That entire round just came down to Okami not communicating or watching their flank, and Mikey taking full advantage of it.
I mean, it really all came down to the kind of fake hatch drop, didn't it? I mean,
yeah.
I don't know if Okami heard that and thought he was gone, or if you pointed out just a moment before we saw that kill happen, the lack of drones that Okami had remaining. Maybe Mikey was like, or it wasn't Mikey, it was Prompted. Maybe Prompted was like, wait a minute, let me just face check this angle. I've got teammates behind me who can play my trade, and it's probably clear at this point. But that was a mistake to presume that. And Mikey in a perfect position to capitalize once, twice, and a third time. Just A+ play from the support, or I guess flex role we've been seeing Mikey on all day long. Now rotating back over to the Zofia for this final round where Okami will be working with a pretty similar lineup they did in the previous round, but this time, of course, can't go downstairs. They're going to replace the Goyo, and they're going to head upstairs to dorms.
A site where Okami have been a little bit inconsistent on. They defended it twice, and they are 1-1, not nearly as dominant as Laundry, a site that they are with OT 3-1 on. So, while they might be confident, the stats aren't necessarily all in their favor. Mikey crouch walking underneath. He's waiting for the security drop, and it is perfect from Mikey. Raffi right into his waiting arms. He gets pressured into security. Raffi feels the burn, decides he doesn't want any of it, but Mikey is ready and waiting with open arms. That is what we should have seen from Okami in the previous round. If you know someone's playing security, drone out freezer, just have someone sit under the hatch. That player will fall off at some point. Lenny, I guess, just know better than Okami, and they'll start the round with 1 man up and a C4 off the board.
Yeah, and the intel that we can see Exile has at their fingertips, but can't do much with it right now, because now you're in a man disadvantage. You don't want to risk getting too aggressive here, and now you just have to sit on site and hope that a player like Mikey isn't going to come shooting out your feet from below. He nearly saw the toes of WAV there, but just not quite the right destruction to see that. Prompted as well will be in an uncomfortable position very quickly, especially if you get those nades from Storms coming from below as well. But last time, in a similar position, LennyGG struggled on the actual execute, and with only 60 seconds to go, getting a feeling that this one could still get rather dicey. You are going to commit now to an attic push, so you have pressure from just about everywhere, but we don't see any closet pressure, and only now are we seeing an attempt to walk up the white stairs. WAV, aware of that. Subarctic as well, prompted, throwing out those toxic babes to delay, but that push has got to come at some point, and WAV is here to counter it. Geo is the first to get a kill, but WAV and Subarctic quick to answer. Prompted follows that one up onto Swaylen.
Oh,
a great
Prompted!
shot there onto Slippery, and it's all up to Geo. He gets one, turns the corner, but a shotgun greets him, and it's going to be Okami to pull it out. A back and forth Oregon, but finally ending in max OT with Okami